We are not Sports Center. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Debate Amongst Friends. I am the Professor John Gotti. My co-host over here is Doc Leesner, the podcasting beast, and we're ready to provide you with another fun edition of sports news, analysis, and the reads. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a new National Basketball Association Defensive Player of the Year from the Milwaukee Bucks, Giannis Antetokounmpo. Did you like that?
Oh, yeah, that's perfect. He deserves it, too.
So, I guess the theme of season 5 and pretty much most of season 4 is me always attacking the media. I now have to attack the fans. For those who keep saying, AD got robbed, and they're using these top-level metrics to try to place their claim. Mm-hmm. You cannot, for a defensive player, you cannot base it off of stats. Period. It's hard to do it. There is no guarantee that you will win this argument. You have to look at full body of work. Full body.
But you know it's a competition, popularity competition.
This is a popularity competition. This is a Lakers thing.
I don't really know Anthony Davis actually did enough defensively to be considered. Who was second? Did you see?
AD. Yes, and we also posted on our social media. Make sure you check us out on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. We also put down the breakdown of the rankings. And of course, everyone's going crazy because someone got a first place vote. We'll get to that. But in second place, it was Anthony Davis. And in third place was Rudy Gobert. Fourth place, Ben Simmons. And in fifth place, Bam Adebayo.
Wow, Ben Simmons got a vote. That's crazy. I would have never imagined.
But wait. There's more. So, NBA Twitter is going ballistic right now. Still, probably to this point. I haven't even checked it in a while. Because someone got a first place vote. And Doc's going to say, wow, and we're going to elaborate on this. So, Doc, getting a first place vote, number 8 in this ranking, Andre Drummond got a first place vote. Only one vote, and it was a first place vote. Doc, your reaction?
I forgot all about Andre Drummond.
Thank you.
Since he left Detroit.
Thank you.
I almost forgot that he wasn't on Detroit.
Exactly. So you can obviously tell certain people gotten the hometown vote from beat writers. Andre Drummond got one. Patrick Beverley got one. Ben Simmons got one. Like, you can already tell that they got those votes because those beat writers there, because of course it's a lot of the beat writers and analysts who are voting for these. And I can't wait for Basketball Imagined to talk about this, because that channel, which is a great channel, you should definitely follow it up, goes into details about people voting and why their votes is unjustified, because they don't show consistency.
Well, we talked about that last year too. I think it was Lisa Salters. I think
it's a lot of people.
No, it wasn't.
No, it wasn't Lisa. It was someone else.
It was someone else. Yeah,
it was a lot. It was a lot of people.
Who said that they vote just based on who they like. It was something weird.
It was dumb.
Yeah,
dumb.
It didn't make any sense. It was Rachel Nichols.
Thank you. Yes, it was Rachel Nichols. We're not going to sit there and slam Rachel Nichols because we've done it there. And we could go into a 20-minute rant about each person on ESPN and how much they just make John Gotti want to drink his entire bottle of Glenfiddich. 15-year edition, folks. Drink responsibly.
Hilarious.
But Giannis got 75 first place votes, 18 second, and 3 third place votes. Anthony Davis only got 14 first place votes, 30 second place votes, and 40 third place votes. So those who think that Anthony Davis got robbed, well, you're an idiot. Sorry. Yeah. 75 to 14. I mean, we both got masters, and I'm pretty sure that, we graduated from second grade mathematics, but I'm pretty sure 75 is greater than 14.
By a lot.
So those Lakers fans,
yeah,
or the 1-year Lakers fans, or I guess 2-year Laker fans, because LeBron came into LA last year, right?
Yep.
So these 2-year Lakers fans, calm down, take a sip of your beer, and face reality. In fact, I'm going to use Doc's line. Have a dose of reality.
That's right.
Congratulations to the Greek Freak. He absolutely deserved it. For those who never, and the problem is people don't watch the games, and that's the part that bothers me so much. Mm-hmm. They don't watch the games. They only watch the highlights. So if we have places like Bleacher Report, House of Highlights, ESPN, putting all these stuff with Anthony Davis all the time, it puts into these fans' minds that he should be Defensive Player of the Year, because those are the highlights they'll show. And we're going to get to these type of coverages in a second as we talk about the playoff series. We're going to get to that.
Clearance sale on rooms.
Shh. Don't worry, folks. You'll love it. But Giannis, heck of a season. Yep. Heck of a season. In fact, dare I say he gotten better.
No, definitely.
I still feel like the only thing that I would say that he needs to change, or for me, in my case, revert back, is his shooting form. Because B-Ball Breakdown, also a great YouTube channel, make sure you check it out, did an analysis of Giannis's jump shot and how he had a much smoother jump shot when he got into the league versus to this jump shot he does now. Like now that jump shot is yes, and that's what he kept talking about, how coaches change the way that they shoot.
And there's a possibility that he got a private coaching, private shooting coach to help him, redefine his game. I mean, obviously he's hitting the three now with a little bit more consistency than when he came in. So, I mean, something's working, but I definitely think I feel like he should work more on his mid-range. I don't think he should do threes.
I feel like the mid-range is a dead art.
Yeah. He should get that mid-range dead eye and go ahead and keep pushing that, because, even the fadeaway, the Jordan, Kobe, Kawhi, fadeaway, I think is where it is. And he's got the length that I think he can really pull it off.
You had to say Kobe's name. We'll talk about that in a moment too, folks.
I mean, I have to throw him in there.
I know. Well, and I completely agree with you. When Doc and I first started playing basketball, this is before Doc and Prof became Doc and Prof, and we actually met each other.
Yep.
We were taught that you start from the layups and you gradually build your shots from there.
All around the world.
Oh, exactly. We played all around the world. I love playing all around the world. In fact, if I wasn't afraid of how much people don't recognize social distancing, I would buy a basketball and go play it all around the world, because it's a great drill to do.
No, it is.
Because it also helps you get shooting mechanics locked down as well. Like, it helps out so much.
But it also helps you with your confidence too, because when you take that chance, knowing that you can go back to the beginning, it's tough. It's definitely tough.
Yes, trust me.
I've gone back several times.
We have definitely had moments where, we have to take that top of the key jump shot, and you're like, you know what? I'll take it. Why not? And then after that, you're on tilt and you're stuck in kindergarten for like 20 minutes.
That's exactly it.
But Doc, anything else on Defensive Player of the Year? Like I said, this is an award that I've always keep an eye on. I just didn't like the fact that, I loved the covers that they did on TNT. Shout outs to Charles, Kenny, Ernie. Shaq tried to speak Greek and it blew up in his face. I still feel like that's just hand fisting and trying to do stuff too much.
Yeah.
Shaq, you're from Newark, Jersey. You know better than this.
Facts. I'm surprised that is that I'm surprised Patrick Beverley, and I'm surprised that Kawhi didn't get more votes.
Kawhi didn't get a single first place or second place vote.
Interesting.
Doc, you're in the mind of Gotti. What do you think I'm going to say?
I don't know, but I'm putting an asterisk next to it.
I feel like people just got tired of Kawhi Leonard, which is weird.
Yeah, because you see what they're doing to Paul George, which we'll get to in a second.
Oh, God. Anything else on Defensive Player of the Year? We'll go to the next segment. Let's get to that next segment. All right, folks, we're going to take a quick 30-second and be right back with more debate amongst friends.
Prof, the playoffs have been pretty shocking. I think some of our predictions have come true. Some things have ended, such as process. I guess we can call it maybe a process improvement.
No, that is the improvement there. They are looking for improvements.
I mean, something's got to do. Look like home improvement out there, honestly. That's what it looks like. That's exactly what I was thinking. As we can just start off right there with the process. It looks like it is officially over. It's over.
A piece of that is over. It's not completely over.
No, it's over. They're going to probably not rip the core out. They're probably going to keep Embiid and Simmons, from what we've heard, and possibly get rid of a lot of their role players. It was pretty sad to see Al Horford, who left the Celtics, obviously, to the 76ers, hoping to, finally get to the next round of the playoffs.
And then just go home early. Which, it's funny that you mentioned...
And watch his previous team go forward.
Yeah. How apropos. But it's interesting that you mentioned that, because both Al Horford as well as Tobias Harris are at least $20 to $30 million part of that salary cap. So they're going to be there for at least the next 3 seasons. Like that, those 4 are there for the next 3 seasons, unless they're willing to find some sucker who's willing to absorb that cash from either of those 2 contracts.
I hate to be that guy, but
it's going to be the Knicks, isn't it?
Yes,
I'm not
going
surprised
to be
anymore.
the Knicks.
But I think you can tell I'm not surprised by that anymore, right?
But honestly, I think if the Knicks who have the cash, if the Knicks, hold on now, if the Knicks were to turn that number 8 pick into Al Horford and Tobias Harris, I mean, it's not terrible.
Knowing my team, they would do that, and that's sad.
It's not horrible. I mean,
it's not horrible, but it's not good at the same time. It's in that middle gray area.
Well, honestly, and we're not going to get too far on the Knicks, but I think the Knicks are just missing an identity. And if you get Al Horford to pair with, the Julius Randle and some of the other pieces that you have, I think it would be pretty good. Some veteran presence, more veteran presence, but I don't know.
See, the folks don't see it, but I got that. What you talking about, Willis look?
What do you mean?
I really don't think. I think the last thing the Knicks need to do is to try to bring in more hefty contracts, because that's essentially what we've been doing for the past 3 decades.
It's the Dolan way.
I really, really, really. I just want someone to come into the Knicks organization and tell him to know your role, but and shut your mouth and let me fix this team. You would generate more revenue. No.
He tried.
No.
He tried.
No, he did not.
The Zen Master. He tried. He tried to get through to Dolan.
No, he did not. No.
Oh yeah, he did.
No.
The Zen Master.
No, he did.
I believe it.
He did.
That Zen Master tried it, man.
No.
He tried it. He tried to. Let's do some triangle.
Let's get away from Knicks. Just like how we don't try to talk so much about the Docs Rockets all the time. Let's not talk about my Knicks because we're not even in the playoffs. We're not even in the bowl.
You're not. But the process is over. I think we can go ahead and just break this news here. I mean, since we're talking about it, Brent Brown is out.
God, he called that.
Yeah. It's sad because I don't think it's his fault. I mean, Ben Simmons goes down.
People got flown that sword, unfortunately.
I think them losing JJ Redick may have hurt them.
That definitely hurt them. That hurt. They had no shooting.
Yeah, despite him only shooting threes, I think him not being there kind of hurt them a little bit. But honestly, they just didn't have an answer. And let's give credit to the Celtics.
Thank you.
Really good team.
I mean, so when we talked about this in our prediction episode, we both said the Celtics were going to win this series. We said it's going to at least be 6. At least 6.
Right.
And then as I watched these games, because I watched every one of these games, folks, I noticed that the 76ers were not who we thought they were. And I remember I told you, Doc, before the season started, not even on the podcast, but I probably wish I had it on the podcast. I said, this is a shell of this team last year. This is not the same team.
You're right.
Don't think this might actually be their last dance.
Not the last dance.
Because we were talking about the Last Dance series.
No, I get it.
But the Last Dance, not in a good way. So, of course, after the game, we have people hyper analyzing the 76ers. We have, Shaq getting on Embiid because Embiid basically said, I'm not Shaq. And Shaq is like, well, you need to start being like me because no one can't, which, as much as I disagree with Shaq about a lot of things, he is 100% right. No one in the Eastern Conference can body up to Joel Embiid on the block at all. But for
there's a few that could try. There's a few that might be.
They could try, but we have people 6'8" going up against him, and he's pulling up from 3.
That's a problem. I mean, you think about it, it's not too many people, but there are a few. I'll give credit to, maybe a DeAndre Jordan, a Mitchell Robinson, as I mentioned. There's a few that might be able to go with them, but
are they in the playoffs?
I'm just going. I mean, obviously, well, no, DeAndre's out too. But,
okay.
Yeah.
I'm talking about in the playoffs on the Celtics in this series.
Oh, on this. I mean,
he should have been bodying.
I mean, I'm not trying to play Tice out, I guess. I want to play them out. Because they won, so I can't really.
They won. All credit. All credit. Brad Stevens has done a heck of a job. And we're going to talk about the next series in a moment, in which we have another coach who played a heck of a round.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't want to play Enes Kanter out. Daniel Tice, they did pretty good against them.
It's nothing against them. It's not even against them. If anything else, I mean, give them champagne. Like, they did a heck of a job. I'm more looking at it from Embiid's side of things.
I really just think he needs to change his game and not adapt so much to maybe what's going on.
What's happening now. Yes, exactly.
Not that he didn't 30 points, 10 rebounds. It's just, I mean, it just was a quiet 30, I guess.
It was a very quiet 30.
I mean, I guess that's where you need to take your game to the next level. And he didn't do that. I'm assuming that's what everybody wants him to do. They want him to get 45, 50 points.
I don't even think so. Here's the problem. And this is why I keep saying, you can't just look at the main box score stats at all. It has to be how you impact the game. So if he had 30, great. Because we have another series that we're going to talk about where someone for that final game, I believe, didn't even score 10. But he impacted the game. So much so. So he could get 30, he could get 40, he can get 50. We've seen people do it in the past where they score 50 points. But did their team win? No.
Right.
It's about how you impact the game, both sides, within your team. Get them involved. Pace of play. Like all these things. And I don't think he has a good understanding of that. And him getting a new coach, I hope, can help change the tide for that.
I think they're gonna have to go back to old school basketball, and obviously we've heard some names floating around, but I think it's gonna have to go back.
Why the heck is Tyronn Lue's name still getting out there?
Somebody's got to do. Somebody wants him. Everybody wants him. I mean, he's a championship caliber coach. Obviously they're not gonna play.
He got fired 20 games in the next season. Oh my god.
Obviously, he won't have LeBron, but maybe he can work with. Honestly, listen, I think Ben Simmons is a great talent.
Oh, absolutely.
He doesn't have a jumper, but he's a good talent. You think about the size of this team, in reality, they should be dominating, similar to what the Nuggets have, which we'll get to that. But
yeah, that's the next segment.
In this situation, I really think that if somebody like Tyronn Lue, or as I mentioned, Alvin Gentry comes in, who actually believes in, post up still.
Yep.
I think they'll be fine. I just think that, Brent Brown, maybe he let them be too free on the court.
I can agree with that. And of course, interactions that I watched from post games kind of hinted to that as well.
I wouldn't be surprised if they go after Greg Popovich, which I guess that's the major news that everybody's going after Pop.
I'm not believing that with a grain of salt. But let's get to the next series.
So, which way you want to go? You want to stay sweeps, or how do you want to do this?
Well, we got 3 sweeps in the East. That was my phrase yesterday.
So let's go Raptors Nets. I felt the Nets weren't as competitive.
Wait. Let me say this. Ladies and gentlemen, do you hear the Raptors now? Do you hear them now? Because, Doc, I got on everyone at the start of the season because of the very first game of the season, their ring ceremony game. What happened? That place was empty. Charles Barkley said this after they swept, and he is completely right. The Toronto Raptors is the most disrespected championship team in sports history, and it's sad. The disrespect. Who do you think you are, punk?
Wow.
But the Raptors played a heck of a series. The Nets didn't make it easy at all. It wasn't just them just molly-whopping on them like they're the Celtics against the 76ers. Fred VanVleet, someone who I really want to know the Knicks. I've been saying that. I haven't changed my mind on that for a while. Obviously, now he's going to be too expensive for us to bring in, but I think he found the perfect place for him in Toronto. Pascal Siakam is balling like crazy. This team, and this is what people didn't understand, is essentially still have the same squad minus 2 players. And they're just owning. Number 2 seed in the East. Playing tremendous. Where's the when are they finally going to get that respect? And big shout outs to Nick Nurse for winning Coach of the Year.
True.
Like this is now a problem, Doc.
It is. I mean, I don't know. It also goes to the Nets. I was going to say that, I really felt like they gave it all trying to eliminate the
Trailblazers, yep, which was the best game of the bubble.
Yeah, but I mean, since then, their energy hasn't been great. Chris Levert's looked pretty average, where against the Trailblazers, he looked like a bona fide star.
Yep.
But now everybody's already looking towards next season. They're looking for Kyrie. They're looking,
immediately after it hit zeros at the end of the game. Well, they're out there swept the Nets. So next year we got Kyrie and KD, and we're going to talk about that for the next few months. Like that's just like I dislike that kind of media coverage. I really, really hate it.
And I have to assume it's because of how bad they lost. I mean, 150 to 122 final game. I mean, maybe they were just trying to give the Nets fans a little hope, I guess.
Not that way. Yeah. That's not rough. The way to do it.
Definitely. Hey, listen, I get it. But the last sweep, Miami Heat sweep the Pacers.
Yep. Then this is the team that I was talking about with the Heat, where you had someone impact the game, but they didn't have to score 20 points in that final game. Jimmy Butler.
No, you're absolutely right.
And apparently, and I put this out on our Facebook group, follow Debate Amongst Friends, the Facebook group. It was a video that someone came out with saying, we all need to give Jimmy Butler an apology. And I agree. I wasn't one of the people who kept talking smack about Jimmy Butler. Doc, you wasn't one either. We both said there's a reason why he wants to get out of there, because he really wants to win. And he has that type of mentality. We've said this, folks. We both said this. You're like, oh, he's being a diva. He wants to get out of these teams. He doesn't want to play ball. He doesn't want to play as a team. He just wants to be the man.
Can I be honest with you?
Go for it, Doc.
I don't even remember what team he came from before this. I don't.
He was in 76ers.
He was in Philadelphia.
Yep.
That's right. He was a part of he might have been. He was a part of the process, I guess.
He was part of the process. When everyone kept saying, oh my gosh, the 76ers, they're going to be the NBA champions. Oh my gosh, look at their squad. They're stacked. They got Tobias Harris. They got Jimmy Butler. They got Ben Simmons. They got Joel Embiid.
Now they got nothing.
Now they got nothing. They got nothing but empty hands in a bubble of depression.
Yeah. It's pretty rough. It's pretty sad. But no, I don't blame Jimmy, which is pretty sad because you would think that Philadelphia would have been competitive, but when you look at Miami and the team that they have, although they don't have the quote unquote star power.
Yep.
They're playing really well together. They're letting Jimmy thrive. Bam Adebayo's gotten better to the point where the Heat felt comfortable enough to trade away Hassan Whiteside, which is, huge because Whiteside a couple of years ago was a really, really dominant center, believing in their rookie or young player, Bam Adebayo, who was coming off of injury, didn't know if he was going to be, a solid player or not, but they gave him a chance and he's thriving.
Yeah.
So honestly, I give credit to Eric Spoelstra, who
Pat Riley,
post LeBron has remained relevant.
Yep.
He's actually the only coach
to
stay on the team after 3 years post LeBron.
And you are completely correct.
Like, he's the only coach that's actually made it, which has a lot to do because he lost all 3 of his stars.
He lost all 3.
So, I mean, I would give him a lot of credit. He's been able to remain, him and Pat seem to have a really good relationship. And getting Jimmy Butler, getting Bam Adebayo, having Goran Dragic, getting Tyler Hero in the draft. Obviously, they've decided to not draft any more Duke players after Justice went slow. But I can't hold that against them because they didn't get the right one. Had they got Jason Tatum, it would have been all good.
It would have been all good. But once again, you don't know because things can happen.
No idea. And I had high hopes for Justice, but I mean, like I said, each player is different. When you're the number 1 or number 2 or top 5 high school player in the world, and then you go to college, you play pretty good, and then you go to the NBA and you kind of stink it up, it's like, that's not really on the college. That's more on the player.
Yeah.
Because Jason Tatum looks great. Brandon Ingram, despite what we've been talking about him with, the Zion Pelicans, listen, I can't sit here and say he's a scrub.
No, he's not a scrub.
But I won't sit here and say that he's fully developed his game either.
I will agree. We've both been on record saying that out of many of these Dukies who went to the NBA too soon, Brandon Ingram is definitely one of them on top of that list who went to the NBA way too soon. Probably needed one more year.
One more year. A lot of players do, and
I still am on record still saying that he needs to add at least 15 pounds or something, because the fact that he's getting pushed, and this is me saying this, Doc.
I agree.
He's getting pushed around by guards. That's a problem.
No, it's definitely sad. It's definitely sad. But I mean, we have more games to cover. Let's take a quick break and let's come back with the rest of these games.
And we're back, ladies and gentlemen. And Houston, we may have a thunderous problem. Doc, Rockets, Thunder. 2-2 series. The Rockets have exceeded your expectation.
Yep.
In their play. But Doc, are you still confident in their ability to get out of the first round?
No. I mean, in reality, we should be up 3-1 right now. The fact that they're letting the Thunder, well, really, it should have been a sweep. I mean, the fact that they're letting the Thunder, stay in games, they're letting them bounce back. I think they started that missed 3 counter in game 3. I think we missed like 15 in a row.
Which is still disrespectful. I don't like the fact that they would like put up missing bucket counters on certain teams, but they don't do it for other teams.
Wow. What analogy. But yeah, we just, I don't know. Respects to James Harden, but Westbrook's not coming back, I don't think. And this is just going to be another season where somebody that he's supposed to be playing with gets hurt, and there's really nothing he can do about it but keep balling. And he's another person that you mentioned earlier about, when you're struggling to score baskets, which he has in the years past, he would just disappear. This time he's been rebounding, he's been doing driving the lane. He like when he hasn't been hitting the 3, he's been taking it upon himself to work his way around get to the free throw line, assist. Like the last game, he had 32 points, 15 assists, eight rebounds. I mean, so it's not like it's from a lack of trying.
Exactly.
I don't know how long this particular roster is going to stay constructed this way. I don't know what Daryl Morey is going to do. I don't know if Mike D'Antoni's coming back. Like I actually have no idea.
I think this is Mike D'Antoni's swan song.
Yeah.
And I kind of felt that way at the start of the season and the way that the Rockets been playing. I mean, small ball lineup's been working great for them. But, I mean, this is still a playoffs. Like, it's really hard to keep up with it. And if you really try to adapt that Nelly ball mentality, it does burn.
And I personally don't like his theory on the 8-man rotation.
Yes, you have been very vocal about that for the past few seasons.
Yeah, I feel like that's one of the things that, like, you're running pretty much. First of all, Robert Covington is playing center.
Yep.
PJ Tucker's at forward. Daniel House is at forward. So it's like Jeff Green is like the tallest player that we have. But ultimately, you're running, a 6-7 guard set with, Jeff Green and Robert Covington playing center. And don't get me wrong, they're athletic enough to compete. And Jeff Green has been playing very, very well.
Surprisingly well.
Yeah, but to me, it's like you need to throw in one more person in there just to spread it out. Because what's happening is those guards, a la last game, Dennis Schroeder drops 30 on us. Which honestly, the shock factor for me, and this is where I thought we were going to get spanked, and this could be something that if they lose, the Thunder might reevaluate, and that's Steven Adams.
Yes.
If you're Steven Adams and you got, you got Robert Covington and you got Jeff Green, these guys like,
which is our Joel Embiid comparison right there.
Yeah, you need to be getting more than 12 points, 8 rebounds. I need you to really, really be. I think Steven Adams should be dominating us.
I agree.
I think Gallinari should be dominating us, especially because we're switching everything.
Yep.
If you get Gallinari on an Eric Gordon, and this is nothing against Eric Gordon, but in reality, they should be dominating us on every level. But I mean, I give them credit. I mean, I give both teams credit because I expected this to be, just a kind of runaway slugfest, and it seems like that's what we're getting. But I just didn't expect us to win, so I was actually shocked that we went up 2-0.
Well, let's go from one series to another. Of course, the big series that everyone has their eye on, which is the Los Angeles Lakers against the Portland Trailblazers. We have injuries. We have tributes, quote unquote.
Yeah. I didn't like that. I didn't like the one from last night, the whole 24-8 thing. I thought that was kind of classless.
It was very classless. It made me almost quit basketball. And you hear me joke around saying, oh my gosh, it's going to make me stop watching. That nearly made me stop watching basketball. That was Bush League. It was classless. Yeah. It was tasteless.
Because they wouldn't have did that if the Blazers were up 24.
Thank you.
Yeah, they wouldn't have.
They wouldn't have done that at all.
Mm-hmm.
But because it's the Lakers and because they was up big, Doc, what? That's their coverage makes me want to drink that entire bottle of Glenfiddich.
So you actually have a habit of listening to the commentary. I don't really listen to commentary. I don't watch any replays.
So you're right. And I only had to watch it for 2 Lakers games, and I stopped listening for the Lakers games. Everyone else is fine.
Like I said, the only person that I hear.
It's the Lakers game that just – everyone else, you can tell that's unbiased. They talk about both teams. They do a story about one player for one team. They'll do a story about another player from another team. But with the Lakers, it is just on my knees worshiping – LeBron.
LeBron. LeBron. LeBron. LeBron. LeBron. LeBron. LeBron. LeBron. LeBron. LeBron. LeBron. LeBron. LeBron. LeBron. LeBron. LeBron. LeBron. LeBron. LeBron. LeBron. LeBron. LeBron. LeBron. LeBron. LeBron. LeBron. LeBron. LeBron. LeBron. LeBron. LeBron. LeBron. LeBron. LeBron. LeBron. LeBron. LeBron. LeBron. LeBron. LeBron. LeBron. LeBron. LeBron. LeBron. LeBron. LeBron. LeBron. LeBron. LeBron. LeBron. LeBron. LeBron. LeBron. LeBron. LeBron. LeBron. LeBron. LeBron. LeBron. LeBron. LeBron. LeBron. LeBron. LeBron. LeBron. LeBron. LeBron. LeBron. LeBron. LeBron. LeBron. LeBron. LeBron. LeBron I don't get that. I
Teammates
don't
of
hear it.
today, it is annoying.
Yeah, I don't get that.
It is annoying.
Yeah, maybe
Oh,
because
Dame Lillard just hit a. Oh, I mean, did you see this tweet that Dion Waiters put out? Yeah, let's talk about this for 5 minutes.
no, I don't get
Hit
that.
the mute. Like, I'm gonna hit the mute button right there. I don't want to hear this. I want to enjoy basketball. I want you to talk about basketball.
Yeah, I don't. Maybe because I'm so. It's almost like I'm there. Like I'm there. I'm in the game. I don't hear the
I would.
commentary. Like
Well, I mean, and you don't play 2K with the sound on either, so.
I don't. I don't. But I mean, that's what it feels like. Like when I'm listening, when I'm watching the game, I can literally just hear sneakers squeaking. I hear the referees.
I hear everything.
Every once in a while, I might hear the commentator. Usually, it's Doris Burke.
Well, I mean, Doris Burke did a incredible job. Chris Webber has not.
I don't even remember hearing Chris Webber.
Like it's.
That's why I asked you. I asked you who he was with, and
It doesn't. It doesn't even matter. Like
Yeah.
it's that. It just doesn't even matter. Yeah, which is
Maybe
why
it does.
I would actually prefer because it happened with another Lakers game and it wasn't Chris Webber.
That's what I'm saying.
In fact, it was Reggie Miller for the other Lakers game, and I was like, Reggie, why?
Who was Reggie with? Like maybe it's the person that they're pairing them with.
I don't know. And for those out there, I'm not a hater. I like unbiased commentary because this isn't a home game at the Staples Center.
Once you say you're not a hater, people automatically say you're hating.
I know, but at the same time, they're the same ones that get upset because Anthony Davis didn't win Defensive Player of the Year, despite the fact they haven't watched barely a quarter of the games of the season.
But we're kind of pulling a media right now. I mean, we're literally doing what they do and talking just about the Lakers. Like, let's talk about the Trailblazers. Like, what are they doing? What do they need to do to get over this? Obviously, Dame's going to be out.
Well, Dame's going to be out now,
5.
so that kind of hurts them. Unfortunately, I mean, and we said this before. We wanted the Blazers to win, but we know who is actually going to win this series.
Right.
I mean, right now, the only thing they can hope for is a few things. AD not playing.
Right.
And Carmelo Anthony bringing back that Denver Nugget, New York Knick Melo. And CJ McCollum getting a cortisone shot in the back.
Yeah, which I give him a lot of props for being able to play through that back injury.
Like, yeah, they may be called the Trailblazers, but like this team's been a bunch of Warriors this season.
No, absolutely. They've definitely been good.
Like going through physical pain, emotional pain for Nurkic's sake. Like, and then just going through this grind to make it to the playoffs, like, hats off to them. They played a heck of a year. And if they come back from 3-1, I really, really hope those 3-1 memes come back.
I don't think that's going to happen.
Oh, of course not. But let's get to the next ones.
Yeah, let's do that. Which is a really, really good series. Way more competitive than I think a lot of people expected it to be, only because of the injuries involved, at least from my perspective, and that's the Clippers and the Mavericks. So
this series, majority of people had it 7. We both said 6 for Clippers. First of all, let's get this out of the way. Luka Doncic is a bad man.
Bad.
He's a bad man. It was to the point to where it goes back to when I watched the Mavericks play or host my Knickerbockers, and I went to the game with the Duke, and he would hear me say, "Luka's doing Luka." He's like, "What are you talking about?" And Luka would just pop a 3. Like, Luka just does Luka.
He does.
Like, and there is nothing you can do about it. So give him all the credit of the world. Trey Burks is getting the shine that he so readily deserved. Kristaps Porzingis was playing great. He's hurt now.
But Trey Burke has been good for years.
He's been good for years. He's just been on either bad teams or teams with coaches that don't give him burn.
Because when he was on the Knicks, he was good. When he was in Utah,
I didn't want him to leave the Knicks. He didn't want to leave the Knicks actually also too. That's a fun fact.
You guys had too many guards at that time.
We had a Rockets problem except with guards. Yeah, I actually said that at that time too. But with the Clippers, I mean, the big story out of that is, I mean, playoff P apparently.
Oh, not playoff P. Which, did you ever find out when he became playoff P?
No, I don't. I don't care. I'm gonna let the mainstream media care about that. I don't care about that.
I'm assuming I have to assume it was when he was in Indiana.
It has to be Indiana.
Let's take a look. I'll look it up, but let's talk about playoff P himself. Which, the meme that I saw out there was that obviously it wasn't Russell Westbrook's fault that the Thunder couldn't take off, because obviously Paul George
see, that's them trying to throw low blows without having the full context.
I mean, listen, Paul George is a great player. Is he the player he was when he first started to
rise?
Yeah, when he first started to ascend. He's not that guy.
No, but not since that horrible knee injury that he got in that exhibition game.
Exactly. I think the pairing of Paul George and Kawhi Leonard are it's good because
on paper.
Well, no, it's good. And the reason why I think it's good is because both of them still believe in playing hard-nosed defense.
Yes.
Where if Kawhi would have went and played in LA, he would have been second, third fiddle. It would have been weird. I can't lie. It would have been weird if he would have went to play with LA. Honestly, he should have probably stayed in Toronto, but I don't know.
Those beams too upsets me as well.
Oh, the one where it says, Kawhi rethinking his decision to join Paul George. Yeah,
then there's another one where it shows Kawhi after he finished diving for the ball and Luka has the ball running up court, and it says, "Come on, playoff P, help me."
Which, come on, guys. Like, why don't you knock it off? I mean, the internet's still undefeated. I get it.
Yes, and I get that too, and I love a good meme. But there's a distinct line between, okay, haha, that's actually pretty funny, I can share it around, and you're just being just way too mean, because the propaganda around all this is Clippers bad, Lakers good, which is true. So ironic, because only one of those franchises have NBA championships.
True. Let me ask you this, though, and this is where it's going to have to come to play. I really think Paul George and Kawhi Leonard are going to have to channel, and this is going to sound crazy, but they're going to have to channel their inner Michael and Scotty. And say, I'm going to be on you all night long.
I actually 100% agree with you. I think that because Kawhi is doing what he needs to do point-wise. He's averaging at least, I think, 27 a game for this series. Yep. So Kawhi is doing his job.
Mm-hmm.
Paul George, I don't know what he needs to do. I mean, it goes back to what we keep talking about. If one thing isn't working, you find it you got to try something else. Get to the line. Go for short range jumpers. Contribute distributing the ball. Doing ISO, and I think the one thing that's hurting the Clippers right now is their reliance on ISO offenses. The one thing that they barely did when they had the whole crew together during the regular season, they have massive segments of that in this season, in this series, that's actually hurting them. Their plus minus on ISOs is like abysmal. It is bad.
Which is really, I think the identity for the Clippers, it hasn't really been that way. Like, yeah, Lou Williams gets his points, but before these two joined, they were a pretty, half court set. They would run an actual play.
Yep.
They might throw it into somebody, but it was a lot of screen and roll. Like it was actually, let's run a set. Now it's like, hey, throw it to Kawhi, let's move out of the way. Throw it to Paul, let's move out of the way. Where they need to get back to running old basketball. But I mean, honestly, they could have been running.
And they have those splashes of those. So when it works, that's when they would make a run and they cause turnovers and they get back into the game and they take the lead, and could possibly win the game, which is kind of what happened last game because they were about to lose that game and they started playing proper basketball and they got back into the game. And I believe they went into overtime. And then Luka broke everyone's hearts, but made Laker fans extremely happy.
So in reality, this series could be 3-1 either way.
Yeah, absolutely.
It could be 3-1 either way. The Clippers should be ashamed of themselves only because listen to what I'm going to say here. They should be ashamed of themselves because the Mavericks are doing this without KP.
Well, now.
I mean, he got the controversial technical,
which was the game that they won, the first game that they won.
And now he's out. I think he's definitely out tonight. He's not playing tonight. He didn't play the game the other night. So it's like, they need to be taking advantage of this. Like, listen, there shouldn't be a segment on Boban.
I still feel like that was the media just trying to find things to talk about.
Yeah, like this is unbelievable.
Because we love Boban. We love
he's
Boban.
Great.
He's great.
He's great.
But the fact that he scored 10 points and we have 10-minute segments talking about him, it just shows how desperate the media is. That's not talking about how good he is. He's great. But the fact that we're talking about him for 10 minutes.
True.
For 10 points. Stop it. Stop it.
No, you're right. No, you're absolutely right. And
I'll tell you this right now. If Dr. Prof made it to the NBA and we scored 10 points in one game, I better do a 10-minute segment on us. If not, we're going to point right back to this. Remember when we covered Boban? Cover me too.
I would love for average Joes to get a chance to play in the NBA, I would love it. But Boban is no average Joe. He's an NBA player. He's been around for a long time. He finally get a chance to shine. I just think the Clippers, they just have to show like
heart.
That's a good point. They just have to show that they are the other team in LA, and this is the reason why everybody had them as the favorites. Because right now, Luka beats them. Because I'm not gonna say the Mavericks. If Luka beats them,
well, we could say the Mavericks because we have Steph Curry's playing great minutes. We have Tim Hardaway Jr. is playing great minutes as well. Like we have people who are actually contributing. So it's not just the Luka show. It's just Luka's the only thing that people are talking about.
If Luka beats the Clippers, they'll be the laughing stock of the rest of the season. They'll immediately forget all about the Nets. They'll forget all about everything else. The Clippers will become the Chicago Bears of this year. They are who we thought they were. And the Mavericks didn't let them off the hook.
Everyone will be calling them the most overrated team out there. I'm not saying this. I'm telling you, Doc, you heard it from me first. If they lose this series, we're going to hear people call them the most overrated team in NBA history.
Yeah, let's see what happens. But just a quick update. I mean, I was hoping that the game would end, but it seems
it's in overtime.
I would say it seems like the longest, 13 seconds in history.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like it's in overtime for me. It looks like the Nuggets are up 13.
It showed overtime, but it looks like they switched it back to fourth quarter. So that was weird. Good job, NBA.com. GG.
I was about to say, it's just 113-107 Nuggets. So that looks like they're not going home.
They're not dead yet.
Yeah, it looks like they're not dead just yet. Yep, 13 seconds, 113 to 107. Nuggets are up, down 3-1, trying to not go home early, which they seem to do every year.
Yeah, because that was looking real bad for them.
I'm curious why they stopped with the large lineup with Bobo. I'm pretty curious why they stopped doing that.
I don't know. I have no clue. That is a great question. I have no clue.
Yeah. Yeah, because that was the big talk when they came back. They had this big lineup. Everybody was, talking about it, and now they've gone away from it.
Yeah, Bobo didn't play a single minute this game.
Exactly. It doesn't make any sense.
And Michael Porter has been he's doing some good thing. He got 15 points. No, Jamal Murray's balling. I mean, it's been the Jamal Murray and Spider Mitchell series.
Yeah, two young guards just going back and forth. I mean, I don't know. I think that, the Nuggets, they might be one of those teams, Malone might be,
excommunicado,
not the coach. Yeah, because, I mean, this is like the third year in a row they would have a first-year exit.
Yep. Oh, I mean, because they lost in the first round last year. Oh,
yeah.
He might get fired after that.
Yeah, I think I want to say this is the third year. I really do think this is the third first round exit. I think they lost the last 3 years after coming in.
We'll get with Chris to verify that, but I think you might be.
Yeah, I really believe so. It's pretty ridiculous. But I think this playoffs has been really good. I like what they've done in this bubble. I didn't think it was going to work.
I love the fact that we didn't have to wait so many days for a lot of these games to play. I like the fact that they're getting it out of the way quickly. So everyone gets only 1 day of rest. So there's no disadvantage. You only get that advantage of resting if you beat the other team fast enough.
So I take that back here. Last year, they beat the Spurs in a Game 7.
Yes, that's true. I do remember that.
And then they lost. Then they lost to the Trailblazers in the next round. That's what it was. So they didn't do. I don't know. To me, it's underwhelming because they're a really good team. They were first in their, or they were second last year in the conference. They're third this year. I mean, I don't know, this mediocre playoff, thing that they got going on. I don't know what it is, what it's going to take, but I guess I'll give them one more year, I guess.
I think this might be the right time for them to start making a move.
You think to get rid of him?
Yeah.
2 years in the playoffs? I mean, it's just the second year.
The problem is the West is still cutthroat. So, I mean, they were, the second seed last year, I believe?
Yeah, second last year, third this year.
Yep. So, yeah, I would try to shake something up there. Jamal Murray is the man on that team. Djokovic, keep those two as a tandem.
Mm-hmm.
And I would still keep Michael Porter Jr. because this is his official first year playing. So that's a real good, strong nucleus there. If Bobo gets some more shine, I don't know what you do with him. I think Bobo being a sixth man could be really dangerous in the West.
I agree. In the West, yeah, it'd be good. I mean, or play them.
I wouldn't do it together. I would have
Paul Millsap.
I don't think we should. I think Paul Millsap might be the odd man out.
Yeah,
I mean, if they keep Paul Millsap, that's great, and then have Bobo be his backup.
Mm-hmm.
But the
thing is with Bobo is he's. I think him and Jokic, they play different styles.
Yes.
So. Honestly, it would kind of be similar to what the Lakers have in AD and, no, it wouldn't be.
Okay, I was about to look at you what?
It wouldn't be. It would be actually complete opposite. I just feel like with Bobo and Jokic on the floor at the same time, we're talking about spacing that would give Murray a lot more space to operate.
Mm-hmm.
You got one-on-one potential with Jokic. I mean, not saying that Paul Millsap doesn't give them that same vibe. I just don't know how long they should keep him.
I don't know either. Plus, I'm thinking of cap space for them as well too. And I think he's eating up a good chunk. I think he's like 15 mil, 18 mil, I believe.
Probably knowing him. He's been around for a long time.
Yeah, he's been around for a while, and he's good. I just think for them to get to that next level, they need to do something to shake it up. But I think having Bobo as the sixth man, having Michael Porter Jr. In the starting lineup for next year, like I think that could cause some real noise out there.
And just to give you a quick number crunch here, Paul Millsap is actually making $30 million.
That's even worse.
It's very bad, very, very bad. But this is the last year of his deal, or next year's last.
I think it's next year. It's next year.
Yeah. So yeah, $30 million.
Yeah, that's a great trade bait actually right there. Mm-hmm. I could see the Knicks going after that actually to get the cap relief.
Yeah, it's an expiring contract. Yeah,
yep.
Expiring contract. But yeah, I mean, let's take a quick break and let's come back to some more debate amongst friends. And we're back. Every week before we end the show, we like to do something called the 2-minute drill, where we cover stories and headlines that we didn't get a chance to cover during the show. This week, we had some interesting stories. Earl Thomas, Pro Bowl safety, cut by the Ravens after a ridiculous tantrum on a practice. Prof?
Cleveland Browns rookie safety Grant Delpit is out for the season with an Achilles injury. Back to you, Doc.
One of the world's greatest sprinters, if not the greatest sprinter of all time, Usain Bolt tested positive after having a mask-free birthday party. He is now isolating at home after testing positive for the coronavirus.
Stupid.
Oh, God.
We talked about Fernando Tatis Jr., but I'm going to talk about Juan Soto, who is leading the major leagues, MLB, in 5 of the 6 major hitting categories. He is a beast. Back to you, Doc.
2-time Pro Bowl safety Buda Baker becomes the highest paid safety in the NFL. The Cardinals worth $59 million. He'll be averaging $14.75 per year. No other financial details were disclosed, but once we get those, we will post those on our social media.
And finally, for me, the Pittsburgh Pirates have created a program where if a foul ball or home run ball hits a seat that belongs to a season holder, they will actually send that ball to that person's house.
I found that to be pretty awesome. And that is all we have for today's show. Be sure to tune in next week. Follow us on all of our social media platforms at Debate Amongst Friends. And be sure we'll be here next week for all the headlines, news, and the reads.
Thank you for listening to Debate Amongst Friends. Give us a follow on our social media on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
You can also listen to all of our Debate Amongst Friends podcasts here on Anchor, as well as Spotify, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, and iTunes.
And like we always say, goodbye, mwah, and to all, a good night. LASG.
Peace, the ocean.
Yay!